And welcome to the Selectmen's meeting of August 29th, 2017. First order on the agenda is a salute to the flag. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda? A second?
I'm sorry, so I this is really bad, I never remember until we're there. I did get a couple more calls today about you. I don't know what to do for poor Kim.
Can you
But
guys hear
Barbara,
me
you see
okay
I'm
now?
crying.
Can you guys hear
Right
me?
there.
This is better than last, this is much better than last
Yes,
week.
right in it. Okay, all right. So call Jennifer tomorrow,
Sorry.
So then it was
All in
approved.
favor of approving the agenda? I'm going to table the minutes of the last meeting, I haven't seen them. Department head committee chair updates, we have road commissioners and bridges.
Now, before you get into this, I have left this on the agenda because I haven't gotten any direction from you guys. I told you last week that Mr. Winchell had been on vacation, and I have touched base since then, but is it good to come off, or what are your thoughts?
I think I'd like to have an update from David, I think we were waiting on,
He was scheduling a meeting with
Okay.
Mr. Foster. I'm not sure if that's happened yet, but that was on his
It
list.
hasn't happened yet.
okay, so we'll keep it on for 1 more week.
Yeah.
Old business MMA action plan.
September 14th at 7 o'clock is what works for the rec committee to tackle that room.
Is that a Thursday?
Yes.
Maintenance zoning.
I spoke to code enforcement today to get an update from last week. He gave me some numbers they asked me to share with you. So 2 weeks ago, we know that Mr. Lankowski mailed out 9 letters. Of those 9 letters, 5 property owners have come in to at least start communicating with him. Certainly not done, but communicating. The town sent out 3 letters this week, which were kickback from Lankowski that he didn't feel like they met the zoning or that they were a junkyard. He also said they had 3 walk-ins for violations last week, and he has an additional 27 pending. So he says that he's dealing with about 42 violations right now, and last week had 30 inspections that he visited for building, tree removal, that type of thing.
Sounds pretty busy.
So it brings us to the conversation of, are we going to think about a special town meeting? Do we want to think about finding somebody to help? I mean, I know we had this conversation with him a little bit.
I think it was a good conversation, and we're leaning towards finding a temporary person to come in, no more than 20 hours.
So based on the budget that he has now, we could essentially advertise for the position and start it at 10 hours until the special town meeting comes. In hopes that the town would support it, you would just have to make sure that employee knows there's always a chance that if it gets voted down, then, you're gonna have to go a different direction. But based on the agreement that he has with the town, he's hour-wise, he's just tapped out.
Mhm.
So either something like it.
Yeah.
So, do you have any idea when you're thinking of having a special town meeting? And what other things we might want to put on it? We talked about the fire rescue ordinance to wait until June, right? We had the possible property maintenance, that if we bring in a deputy CEO, that kind of want to see how the winter goes with this person, helping and assisting in violations, and then decide come spring if you need that, how much have you been able to clean up?
Yep.
What else do we have that we were going to do a special town meeting for? I thought there was something else.
Well, possibly if we have to do the parking lot for Goat Hill and the transfer of money back and forth.
Oh, right,
between
right,
Grant and
yep.
town and-
Yeah, that would be a simple, that could be on there. Okay.
Go ahead, Andy.
Right, and me, and you may want to put the marijuana issue on there too.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
depending on how things turn out, so. So I'll catch up with Ed when he's back in town tomorrow, and we'll try to pick a date by next week.
And what is the typical leeway time that we?
Well, the law says that you only have to post it for 7 days. Everything that's on there would be an open town meeting, so you don't need public hearings for it, but putting a marijuana ordinance through, if you decide to go that route, you really should have some. Well, I mean, if you decide to do secret ballot, then you've got to go 45 days out, because you have to plan for absentee ballots.
Oh,
So that's different than a special town meeting, but,
we'll
I mean,
see how
that's a
the
big.
information
Okay.
pieces go.
And he also gave me a breakdown, if you want to see it, land use violations,
Yeah, I'll take a copy.
hour of the day.
Moving on,
Yes, ma'am.
motor vehicle checks.
I have not received any more back from the fire department.
So we have a total of,
Great.
okay, that's what I thought. Deputy vehicle,
I forwarded you the email from Major Mitchell that, looks like it's in our possession or will be any day, so they've got the vehicle.
so this would be off the list. Fire department,
After Dan's in it.
after Dan's in it. Fire department audit, how did that go this morning?
It didn't.
Oh,
So we had a 10 o'clock appointment.
yeah.
You know me, they're at 10 o'clock, and at 10:05, I was making phone calls. Apparently, they put us in the 10 to 12 slot, and I was not waiting for 2 hours, so that was the message that you heard me playing as we were coming to the meeting.
Yeah.
They're gonna call and reschedule when they can guarantee us the time.
Okay. Meeting room walkway.
Mr. Drummy and Mr. Paul were out front today taking measurements, and if you notice, the Portland Glass finished the door, so I think he's gonna be all set to start working this week. The library did kind of come up in conversation, and I know we didn't really have a chance to talk about this. Brenda did a quick calculation on the whole 30%. There was something about a patio by the picnic table that the library wanted, and Tom wanted to possibly do them at the same time. But where it looks like we've already used our 30%, and you're gonna have to look at vegetating a different area, maybe taking some tar up to move it, you're gonna shift things, we're gonna go ahead and just do that piece of it. That make sense?
Yes.
Does it?
No. So I would have to re-veg, I would have to find a place to plant.
Well, because
some grass.
you have to give and take the same amount, so you can only, what, redo 30%, you only have a 30% expansion, and we're at that. So basically what he said was that we'd have to remove pavement, put vegetation in it to give you more pavement somewhere else.
We'll
so
take
it's a
look at that
wash.
spot to do that.
Okay.
Visual looks great, by the way.
Yes,
Auditor meeting.
sorry. Auditor meeting, so after everything we went through last week, thank you, Dave. After everything that we went through last week, the auditor rescheduled till September 29th at 6 o'clock. After all that.
What else is on that? Wait, say that again?
So,
September 29th?
September 29th, which, oh no, I'm sorry, 26th, September 26th, which is a Tuesday. He was scheduled to be here the 5th, something's come up, and asked if he could reschedule the 26th at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
So that will be Warren Finance,
Trying to figure out what's going on.
even if they don't want the time. The Warren Finance Committee Chair, current chair, did email me today and asked to sit down on the 3 o'clock meeting on Thursday to go through the concerns.
Okay.
Keep it posted.
Goat Hill work.
I think we put the cart before the horse.
Yep.
Is that the saying, the main saying? The grant funds haven't come in yet, so there's really nothing to appropriate, so with the board's approval, just table it until they've got money in hand to pay said contractor and we go from there.
Yes, table. Snow pusher bid.
Just a reminder that it's out, I don't think you probably don't want to raise it again, or maybe you do. This is that little piece of equipment up there until September 5th.
New business, open paving bids.
All right, so we got 3. First one's from Pike. What's it look like? David?
Okay, we have Pike Industries here. So I'm gonna read each line. So we're doing hot mix asphalt, 9.5. Let me know if I'm reading this right. Millimeter, mm. Unit price 69.50. Hot mix asphalt, 12.5 at $65 per, is this per ton? No. It says,
That's all, what you wanna,
yeah, we'll just.
they had specific specs to,
They did?
Yeah.
Different sizes.
yeah.
Different sizes, okay. Hot mix asphalt 19 for $61.75. Unit price. Handwork hot mix asphalt 9.5 mm at $150. Unit price. Curbing 22. Unit price. And reclaimed material per SY at $1.85. Square yard, SY.
So it's per ton laid, handwork per ton, curbing per ton, and reclaiming. So we'll make 4 columns and go back through them.
Do you have it? Yep.
So what's the next one, and then we'll go down.
What do you want me to do next one?
Did you read all 4 for
So
that
I
one?
did handwork.
So the per ton was,
For which size?
Thank you.
9.5, 12.5, and 19.
which one, David, Scott, which one would be, because we don't, usually we just get one number. You want to clarify
Well,
that?
it's, right now, it's in between like $62 a ton and $69
Okay.
a ton. Usually we just take one number. But
So what's the average per ton laid for that company?
65.
Okay. And then handwork,
Handwork, 150.
curbing,
22,
and reclaiming.
$1.85.
One from Dayton, Sand and Gravel.
Dayton sand and gravel, asphalt 63 per ton, handwork 100 per ton, curbing 9 per linear foot, reclaiming $1.75 per square yard.
Can you just give me the reclaiming on pipe again? I missed that one.
Curbing on pipe is $1.85.
And Park Carroll,
What's the big difference in curbing per linear foot? Yeah, go per linear foot, okay.
per ton,
Per ton. $60.40 per ton. There's no more to find out when it's written out. Reclaiming at $1.70 per square yard. Handwork at $125 per ton. And curbing prices, we have several different, depending on how the length, but they're starting at $5 per linear foot, going up to $12 per linear foot, depending on the length.
can you guys come up here for a minute so we can review some numbers and make sure we got this right so you can help the board make a decision? All right, we're gonna go back over. So, what do you do the most of? The per ton, the handwork, the curbing, or the reclaiming?
per ton.
Okay. So Pike's per ton was 65, Dayton's was 63, and FR Carroll was $60.40. Handwork, you had Pike at 150, Dayton at 100, FR Carroll at 125. Curbing, you had Pike at 22, Dayton at 9, FR Carroll sounded like it was between 5 and 12, depending on where it was. Reclaiming, you had Pike at 185, Dayton at 175, and FR Carroll at 170.
What was the number on the reclaiming again?
185, 175, or 170. So, knowing that you guys all think these 3 are very highly reputable companies,
Yeah.
and assuming you're gonna recommend to the board the lowest price. So, looks like FR Carroll, unless I read something incorrectly.
It is the lowest per ton.
Per ton, the handwork is right in the middle of the 2.
Yeah.
The handwork's not really a big deal to us, not a lot of handwork. The curb is kind of a specialty thing to us, we just like those in there just in
There's
case.
not a ton of curbing around.
I don't know,
What is the reclaiming? What is that? What is it?
grind up a little.
So they were lowest at that too. So,
Okay.
what do you want to add? The board should know?
Nope, well, we worked with Frank, and nothing good to say.
You have nothing good to say about No, they're all, I mean, they're all competitive and all, you know, excellent companies. I mean, it's just unfortunately,
Price pipe, this is the first year the pipes have been closed.
it's the first year they've been close.
Yeah, we're not used to a big weather, we charge different prices for the hot top usually it's an average, one per ton price.
You want to look at them to make sure we run them right?
Yeah, I listen to it.
All I needed was a per ton price.
60/40, right, Liz?
Yes.
Mike, for Ever Girl?
Yep, do we make a
Okay.
motion?
It's a little overpaid machine.
It's just for you.
Someone want to say that a little louder? Go ahead, Sam. In the mic, yeah.
She wants me to do this, so. I move that we award FR Carroll the bid, the paving bid for 2017.
And actually, guys, remember, this, so we can get on a schedule that works for everybody, this price is good through December 31st of 18 was how we advertised the bid. So that we'll start, right, we're gonna start going out late fall for the following year rather than fiscal. Is that what you told us you
So
wanted
this
to
bid's
do?
not gonna start until December?
No, this starts immediately, except for with David, and I don't know what company it was, was it David, you already had a job started with somebody?
We'll discuss that.
Okay.
So the
The,
condition said until December
The
31st,
conditions-
2018.
yeah, it said, proposed pricing must be valid through December 31st of 18, that was on the bid.
It's not on here though. Maybe we'll just have that.
What is, well, I mean, they bid based on
Okay,
that, so.
okay. So I second the motion until December 31st, 2018. All in favor? Thank you.
I was hoping they would stay for public comment, it's the first question.
Um, Public comment.
Cindy Hart, Road Committee. I spoke to Ben Foster this week, and we haven't been inspected yet, but we will be between now and whenever snow flies. They don't want anybody with them on the inspection.
Can I, I'm sorry, can I, I mean, David's on the ramp, can we ask him to come in?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely, grab
Can-
him.
Just so that we don't have to.
This will save him a
And he
phone
doesn't.
call.
Exactly.
Yep.
Which ramp?
So you've talked with Ben.
So I spoke
I'm
to
gonna start
him.
from the
He's
beginning
going
when he
to-
comes in.
Yeah, we're on
Yeah.
the list. It will be inspected.
Hold on one second, Cindy. Sorry, David, she's just starting on bridges, and I just wanted you to hear because she's talking about Ben Foster, so I was hoping you could just listen. Yep. Okay.
I spoke, shall I start all over?
Sure.
I spoke to Ben Foster this week. They will be inspecting the bridge between now and when snow flies. They'd like to be alone when they do it, and as soon as it's done, they'll send an email here, and I'm hoping you'll send a copy to the road committee and the commissioners.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you,
Save you a phone call.
Thank you.
thank you.
I want to comment. I mean, Scott Mooney, District 1 Road Commissioner. I read the letter from the lawyer, and lawyers are lawyers, but it did not define who still actually owns the bridges in my book. I mean, I read it, and I read it, and I read it. It says Google Earth says they're in Acton, but it still didn't state, he didn't put his stamp on it that we are responsible for them bridges. That's all I wanted. If that's been cleared up or.
No, I mean, I agree, it probably doesn't say it right away, or very clearly in the letter, so, but I don't think that that's a reason that we should ignore the condition of the bridges. I think that we should pursue if it is New Hampshire, maybe we need to contact New Hampshire and ask them, what are your plans with it?
Well, I thought
I don't
I thought that's what the lawyer was actually gonna do, get us a legal documentation that who owns it. Instead
You
of
had
going
asked us
back
to
and
do
forth.
that.
Huh?
You had asked us to do that.
You asked, I just.
No, I said you had asked us to do
Besides
that.
saying,
Yeah.
look on Google and it's there. you
Well, no,
know?
and I mean, he gave an opinion, and he said in the end of the email that if the board, wanted further, I mean, that it would have to be surveyed.
Right.
But he felt confident that based on the roads, and I don't have the email in front of me, I think I sent it to you guys, didn't I?
Yeah.
That he felt confident that that's who was responsible. So, I mean, it's up to the board if you want to dig
I
deeper
also
into it.
feel that going over the road committee meetings, minutes of previous years, some of this homework was done before, and it seemed like it stopped at some point, but according to the minutes, it looked like what Acton's side needed to do was widen the approach to the bridge, and then all of a sudden, the meeting minutes disappeared, and I didn't know what happened from there.
So,
So some research looked
doing
like it
this
had been done.
15 years, and that's the first time, a month ago, when I heard that.
Oh, really? I'll try to find it for you in here. I'll see who was at the meeting.
But there again, that letter from the lawyer didn't convince me that we're, gotta.
So you
set a
feel
bunch
we
of
need to have it surveyed?
Right.
Both of them?
surveyed and more paperwork's gotta be dug up.
I think you can save yourself a lot of legal money just by, both states recognize us as 50% owners of that bridge. And when you look on all the reports, it's municipal ownership, 50% Maine. And we can spend a lot of money on lawyers. How much have we spent so far? But it's going to come up to the same thing. We own half that Hopper Road Bridge, and that's our responsibility.
I guess I'm kind of out of the loop here. I thought last meeting there I was taking care of calling Ben Foster and calling for the dams and all that.
And I did tell him that because
The reason why I'm a little frustrated here, because it seems to be, I don't want to be calling Ben Foster, and I also called the guy over in DES, Department of Environmental Services, Dams and Bridges, because I guess now we now own the dam down there at the Hopper Road, from the story, I guess, going around. So I called
I
them.
don't think we do, but
No. I watch these meetings, so people
we don't
are
own the
make-
dam.
What?
We do not own the dam.
I know that, but the word's getting around that we're supposed to be doing this and doing that. So I'm making all these phone calls, and the problem is, am I wasting my time? Because Mrs. Hart seemed to have just done my job.
No,
No,
you're not.
because
I
I
don't-
mean, now I feel like a dummy because I've called him. We've been playing phone tag, but she's taking care of it. So now, am I wasting my time? Because your road committee seems to
I
be
don't
taking
think
my
that's
job.
why she was calling.
Well, why is she calling in the first
for another
place?
reason, and she was calling to get
Get what?
direction on the cleanup around the bridges,
Okay,
right?
which is my job.
No,
Okay.
she was getting free calling. Could you explain who you were calling?
This is the reason, I want to speak for a minute, because this is the reason I'm having the problems I'm having here. Because I seem to be getting undermined every moment of the day here. So
No,
as
you're
I
not,
sit in my
David.
seat back
I don't
there-
want to. I don't want to argue this.
I'm not
We
arguing, I'm
have
telling
road
you.
committee meetings. You guys don't come. You don't tell us you're not coming. I know you're on vacation, but we need to move forward with these bridges.
So
Our
what
next
you've done
road
is you're
committee meeting
allocating
is on
somebody else to do my
September
job.
12th, and I would love to have you there.
Okay?
Thank
yeah.
you.
Now, am I
Moving on. I'm moving on.
moving on?
Yes. Moving on.
So I've got a legit complaint here that your road committee member that you've got moving here, got going again, has gone above and beyond my authority and has gone up and made phone calls and obviously scheduling, doing something they're not supposed to be. This is why we had the problem with the road committee in the first place, is they were going above and beyond the road commissioners. And
They
that-
were trying to help you. Because it is probably a waste of your time to make
No,
all
it's
these
not a
phone
waste of my
calls.
time. The
You
reason
just
why I
said
do-
it was.
No, it's a waste of my
We're
time.
trying to
It's a
help
waste
you.
of my time making phone calls when somebody else is already doing them. You know, these people have lives too. And, they're very busy people. When you got 3 or 4 different people from the town of Acton making the same phone call I don't want to make the phone call and go, geesh, I'm sorry, I guess somebody got to you first. So, that's the gripe I've got right now.
The road committee is here to help. And
We haven't even come up with a description yet of what the road committee's job is.
well, right now it's bridges.
Is there an
Because they're
ordinance?
in dire need of repair or replacement.
Okay, we all know that.
Right, so we are moving forward with that on the road committee, and we're going to help you as much as you can, and if you come on September 12th, you can tell us what you've done so
So if
far.
I don't come on
and you can tell
September
us
12th, what
you-
happens? Do you guys just
We're
go ahead and
moving
do it?
forward. We
What's
would
that?
love to have you there.
But that's the question I'm having here is, if I don't show
So
up,
that
do
we
you
can
guys
work
go above and
together.
beyond and start going
Yes,
through this
because we can't
process?
keep putting it on hold. It's been on hold that I can tell of from these meeting minutes since 2013.
It's been on hold since 2013, yes, okay, because I was
And even
told,
then, it was 2 years in the work, and then it,
but I was told in 2013 the bridge was fine, okay? Now all of a sudden,
22 rating
I
isn't
know all
fine.
about the ratings, okay? But I guess, answer my question, am I wasting my time? Should I be making these phone calls?
No.
I don't.
I want you to come and work with us.
So my job is not take care of roads and bridges in town Acton.
I want to be done with this conversation.
Well, no, I got a legit complaint. It seems to be
It
everybody
is.
else up here has a complaint.
It is,
gets
but we
addressed.
are here to help you because it has not been addressed. And I know
Come
they
up with
keep
a road
saying it's
ordinance.
fine.
Come up with an ordinance for the road committee, okay, what you're supposed to be doing. That's what, I thought we had an ad hoc committee to do that. You haven't, the whole idea with the ad hoc committee was to come up with guidelines of what their job was, okay? You're
And you
overseeing
didn't
that.
like that, so we stopped. Can we just, I would like to have you removed from the podium and end the conversation right now.
So you're asking me?
I'm asking you to stop.
Because I believe I have a legit complaint that you guys are
You're-
overseeing my authority.
You keep contradicting yourself, and I don't want to go there anymore right now.
Fine.
I've got two things. My name's Lois Mish. I have two things. One, when we had a conservation committee that was myself, Wes Ham, Han Phillips, and Mr. Maloney, we went over this. This was part of our job to do also, to take and look over the bridges and stuff like that. Also working with the selectmen. We're talking before Jen got here. We're talking quite a few years ago. It was decided then these were New Hampshire problems. New Hampshire took consideration. We were the ones that, we worked with them, don't get me wrong. We worked with them as road commissioners or as people we were, but that was their decision. And that being said, you can look at our notes, look at their notes, look at the prior selectmen's notes. That was when Lorraine was here and all that. You go back that far. This has been an issue for years. I told you 3 weeks ago how that bridge was made down here at the bottom of the hill where I live, to go over to New Hampshire side and look at it. It will tell you exactly who made the bridge. Same way with over the canal dam and all that stuff. It's on the Wakefield side. You've got to jump the border to find out.
And like I said, I think that's what I found out in the notes from the previous meetings, is
But
that
you're
New
only going
Hampshire
by
was
road
going to take
commissioners.
care of the canal bridge, and when the Acton side was widened at the approach, and then the notes stopped. So I don't know why
Exactly.
it never got widened, so that New Hampshire could fix it, or why New Hampshire decided not to keep.
But you're going to have to go back more years than what you think. I haven't been on the Conservation Committee for almost 15 years. You're going to have to go back that far plus. That being said, I'll leave that alone. I wanted to thank this community. Last week, we had a gathering down here at the pond for a young gentleman who passed away. It was amazing turnout. Personally, I did not know the young man, but it was amazing. This community came together really well. I'm sure his family appreciated it, and I wanted to say thank you to the town.
And my condolences to the Davis family as well.
Mine too. Any other?
Any more public comments?
I want to change the subject. I was wondering, since we meet at 5 o'clock, and a lot of people work, it's hard to get here at 5. Have you ever considered 6 o'clock?
This question came up before already, and it didn't seem like the attendance, as far as I know, was any different than 5 or 6.
Would you?
But would I consider it? We can certainly talk about it.
Yeah. Okay, that's all I ask. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
I'm going to reopen the subject because I think that we have done a disservice to the road commissioner, one in particular. I don't necessarily support some of the things that they do. However, Mr. Winchell was told at this meeting, or not this particular meeting, but at a previous meeting, that he would be the one to make calls to the state, etc. And now we're telling him, no, don't do that. We need to make
That
up
is
our
not
mind.
why Cindy was calling. I think she found that out as a side effect of an original.
I'm not saying why she called. What I'm saying is he was told that he would handle making these phone calls.
No,
Now
this-
he's being told, yes, he was, Elise, I was
No,
right
I know,
here.
no, I know that, and that's not why Cindy was calling.
I don't care
She was
why she
calling on a
called.
different subject. It wasn't about the inspection
You
of
just
the
told
bridge.
Mr. Winchell that he wasn't responsible, and that's a disservice.
He was asking.
What did he ask?
He asked if he was wasting his time, and I said no, and then he said he was.
And he
So
asked
like
you?
I said, I don't want to have this conversation anymore. He
So I'll go sit
contradicts
down.
what he says, and I can't go there. I need it in writing so that what he says is what he says, and then he turns around and says something different.
Speak.
Go ahead.
It was my understanding that the road commissioners, the road committee realized that both of those bridges have to be replaced, regardless of who owns them or what. The process to start to replace those bridges has to start somewhere, and that's what I felt that we were going to do, was to try to get the process going to get the 2 bridges replaced. And we didn't want to step on the road commissioners or anything. We just wanted to get the process going to replace those 2 bridges, which is going to be, if we were to start today, best case scenario, 5 years down the road, there may be construction on those bridges. It's going to take a long time and a lot of legwork that I don't think the road commissioners would be interested in doing. And there's 2 states involved, 3 towns involved, and that's all the road committee was trying to do, is just to get the ball rolling.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Carol Horgan. I've been a resident of Acton for 20 years. I know that doesn't make me a Mainer, but irregardless, I'm here to discuss the traffic issue, and it's a big one at the Acton Trading Post. There have been many, many accidents there. Most recently, a very sad fatality. The speed limit coming south, they're going from a 50-mile-an-hour zone to a 40. And I would be willing to bet that nobody adheres to that 40.
Mm-hmm.
You can't see coming around the bend, coming south, going north. You have the lip of the bridge. You can't see there either. If you're going out and making a left, you take your life in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me. It's been proven many times. The fatality last week, Virginia Grover's car was totaled there, just as a couple examples. You have vehicle damage, bodily injury, and like I said, the loss of life. Most recently, there are a huge amount of burnout marks there. I don't know what's going on, but it would seem to me that
That was
something
after the vigil.
That was
That was
for the young man, so
for the young
that's
man.
not something you're gonna, I mean,
Oh, it seems to me that irregardless of those
Yeah.
marks, these are new.
That's why those new ones were as of that night. A bunch of kids that age, but nevertheless, it doesn't make it right. I'm just saying that's why you saw so many.
Yeah.
My suggestion to you would be a traffic light. I understand this is a state road, it's gonna have to go before DOT, and I'm not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm thinking a civil engineer from DOT should come out, make some kind of a survey or determination of existing conditions and take it from there.
I agree. I do. I mean, after that accident, I thought, that's a bridge that
There's
you
been
cannot
do
see.
something.
It's not wide enough.
There's been many vehicle damage, bodily injury, and fatalities. You can't see either way.
No,
And
you
like I
can't.
said, not to be repetitious, but if you're making a left out of there, as I would, to go to my home, you got 2 lanes of traffic you're fighting, and you can't see anything that's coming at you until it's perceivably too late.
Okay.
I just think perchance, I don't have any other suggestion, but I would say a traffic light. At least that way you can be assured that when the light is red, you're good to go. You're not going to, you're not going to end up with an issue.
We can
an
call
accident.
DOT and talk. I mean, I've
I'll talk to the
done that
sheriff's
myself with
department and,
speed limit signs, and
Yeah.
they're pretty responsive. I don't know.
I'll make some calls and see what kind of recommendations we can get. I'm not sure that a traffic light's gonna work down there, but there may be some other alternatives as far as sight, signs, maybe no left turn, or, let's get some, we'll
I'm
get some
looking for
opinions.
input. Like I said,
Yeah.
that was the only thing that came to my mind that would nip that situation in the bud. I know it's expensive, it's state involved, et cetera, but we're talking loss of life, bodily injury, and fatalities.
And somebody ran into the building, didn't they, at one
There's
point?
been all kinds of accidents down there.
That's been enough to make a case.
We'll make some calls. It'll be on next week's agenda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to go through the announcements. Warrant and Finance is meeting August 31st at 6 p.m. There's a public hearing tonight at 6 on the marijuana, its information meeting. There's a public hearing on September 7th for Maloney at 7 p.m.
This is Mary Grant related. Barbara dropped that off for you.
Mary Grant? What? Maloney is off of H Road. I think it's Camp
Conditional-
Bella,
Conditional use permit application.
runs
For-
an art camp or something.
Workshop facility she's trying to put in there.
Mary Grant is having a potluck picnic on September 17th at 1 o'clock. They're having the grand opening of the Story Walk that the library and the Mary Grant Nature Preserve put in.
That's awesome.
Everyone's welcome, and there's flyers up. I think that's it. Applefest and the 5K, September 30th at 9 a.m. Zoning Board of Appeals, Rec Committee, Cemetery Committee, they all have openings for seats. So,
Did get Lois Mission interested in the ZBA. With your approval, I'll put it on the agenda next week to be appointed.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I think that's it. Can you adjourn?
I move to adjourn this meeting.
I second. All in favor? Good night.